exciting day and a historic moment for the modern UK-India partnership. Our landmark FTA, or CETA, has come into effect today. We've boosted our bilateral trading relationship, which was already, of course, worth £48 billion, by making day-to-day trade cheaper, quicker and easier between the UK and India. The deal is going to increase India's and the UK's GDP by nearly £5 billion. It'll also increase bilateral trade by over £25 billion every year in the long run. So together we've really unlocked the combined economic might of two global economic powerhouses. India, of course, is one of the fastest growing economies in the G20, a fountain of talent, technology and innovation, and of course the UK, home to global hubs in finance and international investment, and of course with the lowest corporation tax in the G7. The UK Minister for Trade, Chris Bryant, said in his interview earlier today that the UK-India FTA sends a message to the rest of the world that the rules-based order works. And I think those rules, when they are about international trade, are in everybody's interests and certainly very much in the UK and India's interest. So from today, our economies, our businesses, and most importantly, our people are going to start seeing the benefits of this trade deal. 99% of Indian goods and 90% of UK products entering India will either be duty-free or reduced in tariffs. And of course, just this morning in Mumbai, my Trade Commissioner Harjinder Kang welcomed the arrival in India of one of the very first special packages of British products that were benefiting from the FTA aboard a British Airways flight from London into Mumbai. So the UK-India FTA is the new gold standard of trade deals, pro-worker, pro-innovation and pro-growth. It's a force multiplier and a template for future trade agreements, as I believe Minister Goyal himself described the deal. The UK-India FTA is also the biggest and the most ambitious modern free trade agreement to enter into force to date for both of our countries. It's the quickest turnaround for the UK, bringing a new deal into force following signature, and I'm particularly proud of that, of course, having been at the signature moment last year in Chequers whenever Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Starmer watched their trade ministers signing the deal. It's the first ever comprehensive deal by India to come into effect, and it's got 30 chapters covering goods, services, procurement and beyond, with wide-ranging benefits for businesses of all sizes. And again, I'm particularly proud of the benefits for MSMEs, as well as for the big businesses you all know about and can name. In sectoral terms, the trade deal brings really sweeping benefits for a wide range of sectors. From today, I think you're probably all aware that import duties on Scotch whisky have been cut from 150% to 75%, which should make a really significant difference to the price the consumer pays. So, for example, if you had a 5,000 rupee bottle of whisky that you were going to sell in India, because of tariffs, you'd have had to sell it for 12,500 rupees yesterday, but today you just have to sell it for 8,500 and soon to fall to just 7,000 rupees. So, much more affordable Scottish whisky, which I know a lot of people are very excited about. And of course, from today, import duties on premium UK-built cars begin to fall from over 110% to 10% under a new quota, making iconic British brands cheaper for Indian consumers. And I have to say I've had lots of inquiries about that as well. So those are the headlines, but there are far more sectors that will benefit than that. So retail, for example, the best of UK beauty and cosmetics, homeware, sports goods, will all be cheaper for Indian consumers to purchase. Clean energy. 98% of environmental and green goods are being liberalised, supporting India's energy transition, really important, and of course UK clean growth exports. That includes, for example, turbines, generators and components across renewable storage and grid projects. In creative industries, which I know our Prime Minister was very impressed by seeing whenever he went to Mumbai last year in October, Indian animation studios and UK game developers can collaborate knowing their rights are secure. In financial services, there's certainty and predictability for UK banks, insurers and fintechs. And then, of course, the UK-India FTA will make it easier and quicker for UK companies to bid into the Indian procurement market and give guaranteed Indian access to the UK procurement market. So India's central procurement market is worth about £38 billion annually. And a great example of where this might take effect, for example, is urban infrastructure. So India, of course, delivering one of the biggest urban infrastructure expansions in the world. And tariffs on lots of infrastructure products will be reduced or removed, helping British specialist equipment, engineering solutions and innovative technologies become much more competitive here in India. But of course, because infrastructure is delivered by people, the agreement also improves business mobility. So making it easier for engineers and consultants and professional services team across both markets to work seamlessly together to deliver those fantastic projects. So I'm looking forward to seeing not only the sort of the faces of the Prime Ministers up on the link next time, but actually sort of understanding how much of the infrastructure is built by British companies. The UK-India FTA also pairs British strengths in design and sustainability and innovation with India's scale in ambition and pace of delivery. And I think one of the things I know Minister Goyal has repeatedly emphasised is how complementary our two economies are and how much we can actually win together out of giving greater access for both goods and services in both directions. So this deal has a net positive effect on both our economies and on wages, which has remained the priority for both governments. Minister Goyal said himself it's a fair, equitable and very balanced agreement. And of course, for me, it's a deal agreed in a spirit of fairness, and really sensitive to each other's interests and concerns, but actually with massive benefit for both of our economies. So now our emphasis turns to seeing how the FTA actually really delivers benefits. It's a 2,000-page treaty. I'm assuming you haven't all read every dot and comma of it, but there are huge opportunities available across, as I say, a range of sizes of business and indeed a range of sectors. Success for us, I think, will ultimately be measured by more businesses trading, investing and creating jobs. It's about that cheaper whiskey on the shelf in Bengaluru. It's about the cosmetics in your local retail brand beauty store in Delhi. It's about the medical device you can buy and see in an Indian hospital. And going the other way, it's about finding that fantastic Indian design, of which I'm such a big fan myself, or indeed Indian components for manufacturing engineering, reaching the UK duty-free. So both the UK and Indian governments are doing a huge amount now to help businesses maximise the benefits of the deal in both countries. We organised the UK-India Trade Roadshow across the UK in 6 cities across the whole of the United Kingdom, bringing together hundreds of British businesses eager to explore the opportunities in India unlocked by the deal. And my team have told me some really fantastic stories about businesses that they met during that roadshow who suddenly realised what they could get from this trade deal. So in Manchester, they met a manufacturing company producing dyes that are used in plastic bottles, for example, that has ambitions to grow here in India. They met a Leicestershire-based copper products company, similarly excited about the opportunity to see reduced tariffs, making their products more competitive and opening up new export opportunities. And so we've really seen a level of excitement all the way from the very biggest businesses all the way down to the MSMEs who actually see this as helping them get access to both markets. And of course, this is at a time of year when I have to say half of Delhi is somewhere in London watching either Wimbledon or cricket at the moment. And so I know there are lots of Indian businessmen in London at the moment, and indeed more widely across the whole of the UK, whether they're on holiday in Northern Ireland or doing business in London or watching Wimbledon, thinking about what that opportunity means for how they can do business differently now. We've also got a lot of businesses signing up to the Alive with Opportunity website, and I'd really encourage you to have a look at that if you haven't seen it, which actually redirects businesses to a whole wealth of materials on how they can utilise the deal. And I know that Minister Goyal again announced 1,000 advisory personnel across India who will be helping Indian businesses to think about how they can take advantage. And certainly when I've met chief ministers recently, I know people have really, I've been really impressed actually by the amount of analysis that individual states have done about what they can get from the deal, and actually the kind of questions they've asked about what this means for greater sectoral collaboration or for greater collaboration sort of state to region across the UK. And I think in both countries we see this as a deal that really benefits the whole of both of our economies. Minister Goyal really emphasised that importance of strengthening the subnational economic partnerships. And I always joke that subnational Indian level still means states that are bigger than most European countries. But I think that real region-to-region linkage is important. And one of the things I'm most proud of is actually that in the UK, we have businessmen who really do understand the whole of India and actually are able to take advantage of that deal across the whole of this massive nation. But vice versa, Indian businessmen are particularly good at actually working out how to think about that whole of UK advantage, whether that's Scotland, Northern Ireland or Wales, whether that's Manchester or the North East, Cornwall or Kent. So in practical terms, that means a textile manufacturer from Indore will be able to trade more efficiently in the UK, just as an auto parts manufacturer from Birmingham will also be able to export more cost-effectively into India. And I'm really pleased, therefore, to announce there are plans for the first ever joint mayoral-led mission to India in October from across the whole of Northern England, where a range of northern mayors from England are going to come together in order to both, frankly, showcase the benefits of the trade deal for their own constituents, but also to understand the opportunities here in India. And we're really excited about that. That'll strengthen links in trade, in investment, in innovation, in education, in culture, and in tourism. And of course, many of them are seeing the really exciting education partnerships with 9 British universities opening up here in India already. Many of them see the tourism potential as well, the cultural connections. But as I say, this is really about the growth opportunities. So I think we've got a busy few months ahead. I've been saying to my team that they may have thought they were working hard for the last year, and boy, were they working hard for the last year. But actually, the next few months are the really important ones, where we actually put this deal into practice. I mean, I really can't tell you how excited I am to see this deal in effect so soon after we signed it. We did our absolute best to try and get it into effect as fast as possible, because although we've already seen trade between the UK and India increase since the deal, with the sense of opportunity, I'm really excited about what we're going to see now it's actually in force. It's an opportunity to grow our economies, to drive maritime security, to keep supply chains secure together from global economic shocks of the kind we see, and indeed so much more, because of course the FTA is not the ceiling, it's the floor of our ambitions. We are seeing Vision 2035 as a much wider partnership between the UK and India, and I think what's really fantastic to see is the warmth on both sides politically since that deal was signed. The sense of partnership that it created has really done so much in every area of collaboration between the UK and India. It's been fantastic, whether that's the Technology and Security Initiative, whether that's the UK universities, or whether that's the wider Vision 2035 sectors that we're looking at.